All right. Good evening, everyone. It looks like we are live. Welcome back to another Well-Don Tanks live stream. Very happy to have you all here. We mute that up, get the chat pulled up, making sure everything's going to be running as we need it to be. Hopefully, we're not going to have major internet problems like we had last week. That was absolutely terrible, and definitely something I'm going to be working on now because we upgraded our internet to avoid that. And then it was not avoided, but Carrie with Science Gal Aquatics is an absolute trooper, an awesome person to talk with. We just, I have other individuals that have agreed to come on a live stream, and I want to make sure it's a positive experience for them. Absolutely. But hello, everyone. Welcome back from Welcome everybody. Welcome. Thank you for being here so much. It's been a weekend. It's been a hell of a been a good weekend. I say hell of a weekend. It's been a good weekend. It was a very busy weekend. We did the trip out to see mountaintop puffer keepers. So that was an awesome exploration. I got to go see Matt, meet his family. His family is fantastic. Thank you again. Matt, thank you so much for having me in your home, see your fish room, everything else. And we've got a new little friend hanging out in the 90-gallon. It's going to be, I don't know if I can actually like focus it in. Let me see if I can focus it and not break it. Oh, okay. I'm out of focus, but right there, boop. That is our new Fahaka puffer from Mountaintop Puffer Keeper. So he is home. He's doing great. The snail population in that tank has decreased dramatically over the last 24 hours. So it's a good sign. A good sign to see he's eating. The belly's full. He seems to be settling in nicely. The members only video I posted of showing the fish off. You literally been in the tank for like 5 minutes when I took that video. And then over here in the tank off screen, we brought home 5 rainbow cichlids from Mountaintop Puffer Keeper as well. So it was a overall excellent trip, fantastic trip. He knows his stuff. Let me tell you about that. So we may get into a little bit of we're going to talk some of that because there was things he talked about that really piqued my interest and all that. We'll do a general Q&A like everything else. And then I'm still looking for a fish for this tank. I've found a few flower horns. I'm just not in a position to purchase said flower horn yet for the price that I have found them for. I found a really nice one. I just got to let the business generate a little bit more money before we start making some extravagant purchases. So this one may sit empty for a minute, and we're still in the process of trying to move to Texas, all these different things. We got a lot going on right now. But yeah, we're bringing new fish nonetheless, though, right? So in hopes to help kind of generate some income off of the business, have you say, fashionably late. Was I fashionably? Maybe like 2 minutes late. And Blake, you may like why I was fashionably late. Because you looked like you got your endlers in, which was awesome. I'm glad they came in. I'm glad they came in well for you. So tonight. And thank you to all my moderators. This may add a little bit of work to you guys. But tonight, I have a discount code that we are putting out for the next week. So it's going to be active from this stream to Sunday, May 30th until 11:59 p.m. So it's going to kind of run from stream to stream. Have you thought about making it run over into Monday, but then Mondays are shipping day, so it's easy. So more orders we can get ready to go. We generally ship Mondays, the first shipping day, Tuesdays if we have anything kind of extra we need to get out. So for those who are watching, and hopefully the moderators can put all this in for us on the website, everythingweldon.com, live 10 will get you 10% off everything that I'm allowed to discount on that website. So we have, maybe we'll dig into the website a little bit here, kind of show off some things. There's honestly, guys, and yes, I'm sorry, the first maybe 10 minutes of this stream is going to be the major sales pitch of I got to make room in the fish room as we are getting full fast. We just brought in some new fish. I have another gentleman who is shipping us fish tomorrow. So like we're and JP Justin has got some like shrimp and things for us, and so we're talking to a lot of people, making a lot of things happen. But we're kind of getting to a point now where it's like need to make some space. So before I jump completely into chat, but I want to say hello to a couple people really quick. Jen Hughes, good to see you. We got Blake hanging out. Trevor's here. Kendra Train. Hopefully you can join us again. Other Tiffany, we're happy just to have you lurking. And Daniel, good to see you here. I know we there's a dog going crazy, and I would usually have my window open, but that dog is going berserk right now. I don't know why. HD Aquatics hanging out with us. Lindsay's good to see you. Because you're fish, good to see you back. Hope things are doing well for you. We got Carrie hanging out with us. Carrie, I'll text you again. I need to talk with you more about those cichlids I want to send you. And then I've had so much going on. It's been so many positive things, but man, I'm learning now to like time manage and keep things going. Actually messed that up today for bad. Oops. But no, we do not have a name yet. So for he's cruising mid-water now. All right, we're going to go out of focus again. Look at him. Cruising mid-water. Well, ish mid-water. He's cruising. I like it. I like to see that he's happy and doing well. We do not have a name yet for the Fahaka Puffer, so we were definitely taking suggestions on what you would like to see, what you want to do there. But JP's hanging out with us. Let's see. We got Jarhead coming in. Don Cervantes, good to see you here. Thanks so much for being here. HD Aquatics. So I see. Let's see. All right. We're going to read HD Aquatics comment here really quick. Then we're going to jump into some things. And then HD Aquatics is actually one of those individuals who's agreed to come on a live stream with us. So I got to check some dates there, but we're getting all that set up and figured out. It should be fun to talk with him. Let's see. For a video or for the stream, I think it would be cool if you made a video about what aquarium hobbyists can do in the hobby when they get bored. Okay, so you're probably talking more of like changing things up. So we'll come back to that one because I think I know where you're going with that one, but that's awesome. And then Daniel's got so we sent Daniel some koi guppies to work with us for us. That's fantastic. They are already breeding. That's so cool. That's awesome, man. Hopefully that's really, really cool there. Okay. Let's jump into, I want to show you guys the website really quick, just for a few minutes. We'll kind of jump into that here. I say we've got some video file. Come on now. I think we got some pretty amazing fish on there right now, to be honest with you. And I would like to kind of us off from and say the first few minutes, I gotta pay some bills. That's like my favorite thing that like Harris Heller now says is we gotta pay some bills. I gotta pay some bills. But no, like really. I honestly right now feel in this world of competitive nature of these shipping fish, selling fish, you got to understand everything on the website, nothing was imported. Now, could I get more sales if I imported fish? Probably. Is that something we may do if we get a big fish farm set up? Maybe. But I like focusing in on the hobbyist bred and raised fish that either come from myself, and then those around the United States. Like we've been shipping fish in from hobbyists. I've been able to buy fish locally from hobbyists to make this happen, and that's the main goal of this website and what we're doing here. Now, I kind of want to get into a few things with you guys here because I really feel like we've got some amazing fish on the website right now, and with the discount code LIVE10, so it's based off. I'm giving you a discount code for this live stream. So even if you're new here, welcome. I'm Trent Wel-Don. This is Wel-Don Tanks. We run the YouTube channel here, but we also have we call it our local virtual fish store up and running. It's everythingweldon.com. And if you're catching the replay, the good news is we have this discount code running for the next week. So you can take advantage of this, hopefully. So one thing I do want to remind you guys is we now have the Excalibur fish food in stock. It is here, ready to go. I brought in the 3 ones that I like the best. If the sales show it, I will bring in the fourth food, which is the Mass Effect food. Honestly, the original Excalibur is my absolute favorite. that's why I still wish I had my flower horn, is it would be perfect timing to do like actually showcase using this food. So I've got to figure that out. We have this ready in stock. This is one thing that I cannot discount. Guys, this is a phenomenal food. If you have a flower horn, if you have larger cichlids, this honestly is a excellent food to use. But then, so we have that in stock. But some things that I'm excited about, and I'm kind of shocked that nobody else has taken advantage of them yet, is these OB peacocks. These were I purchased all of these locally from a gentleman who, his breeding group was some of the best OBs I've seen. And there's even a few in there that Justin can tell you. They don't necessarily look, they're not OB, but they definitely carry the OB gene because they came out of an OB line. Really pretty fish. But guys, these are anywhere like 1.5 on the smallest size. Like that's being like modest, if I have to say. These are some decent size OB peacocks. And at $3 a fish, go find anywhere else that's going to sell you an open. Now, granted, okay, I know most people want like the 5-inch, 6-inch OB peacocks, but go find an OB peacock that's 3 inches for $3. Like that just doesn't happen right now. So that is honestly something I am a little surprised that like nobody's jumped on those yet. Is, 3-inch OB peacocks for $2.99. Now, I got these for a really good deal. So instead of turning around and trying to price gouge you guys, I set it at a price point of like, hey, I want to get these out to people, get them breeding groups. You have, because I know people like OB peacocks. They love these fish, but then you go to your local fish stores and they may be, $30, $40 a fish, $2.99. And then on top of that, $20 shipping, use the code LIVE10, get 10% off your entire order. Just saying. So that's definitely one I'm excited about. These guys are showing tremendous color in the fish room. They're doing really well. So I'm kind of shocked nobody's bought those up. These electric blue Johannes are growing out even better. Trevor bred these for us, sent these out to me. So these are here. These are bred from Trevor. And these guys, even at a young age, are looking good. And for $20, you will get 6 fish. Yes, they're juvenile, and there's some things you got to grow out. That's also part of the fun of this hobby is you got to put a little bit of effort into some fish. And then another big one, these swordtail trios that we have. I dropped the price down to $14.99. That is for a male and 2 females, and these things are massive. Maybe Mountaintop Puffer Keeper can kind of tell you how big these things are because he ordered a trio from us, and he's the only one that's ordered a trio from us, I believe. So these are sitting in the fish room. They're getting big. They're fat. They're happy. They're healthy. The color is great. You will have some color variant between the red on the females. Some females carry this orange coloration. Even though some of the males have this. But guys, these are a great, look at that fish. And now I'm not docking editing these photos up much. That's the true color of these fish. They are phenomenal live bears. And for how big these fish are, $14.99 is a really good price in those fish. Now, of course, I'm going to say that because I'm selling them, but I say that's one I'm really excited about. And I'm also kind of surprised that nobody has snagged up these guys. The pictures look a little quonky, but these are an ultimate angelfish, locally bred here in Utah. And I've got 8 of them right now. I mean, you want a good breeding project? That's a good breeding project right there. Absolutely, that's a good breeding project right there. And then one I am really excited about that these guys just came in, and these are from the Jarhead Entrepreneur. He shipped us in a group of beautiful lemon blue-eye plecos. And again, these are like 1.5 inches. So these already have some decent size to them. $8.99. $8.99 for a lemon blue-eye pleco. And granted, these aren't sexed yet. So your best recommendation would be to buy 3+. But the color on these fish when I opened up his shipping box was unbelievably good. So he did a great job raising those out, getting those to us. And then Justin brought us over some of his amazing peppercorns. Now, these guys carry the long fin gene. There we go. But these are locally bred here in Utah. These have done great for me in the past with my experience with them. And these are a great Corey to have. His line and his breeding process is very well done. And it's something he's actually brought up of writing a blog article for us to talk about that, just showcasing like how well and his ideas behind breeding. See, he did a great job breeding those fish out. So not to go too sales pitchy on you, but I definitely wanted to showcase some of the better quality fish that we have in stock right now, that that none of these were imported. They've all been bought from hobbyists around the United States or locally to me, and they've all been through quarantine. I still recommend you quarantine when you get them, but that they're coming from a fish room, like a working fish room where I'm paying attention to all the tanks, and they weren't imported. There's nothing wrong with importing fish. I'm not going to say that because there's a lot of good things that have come from importing fish, but hopefully it's a little bit of an idea there of like we've been active, like me and my wife have been actively working on keeping these fish healthy for you guys when they're ready to sell. So just kind of going in there right now. All right. Yeah, but hopefully the code should be live. Hopefully it is. Definitely, and thank you to all of the moderators here helping us out there. And then we do definitely appreciate it. But okay, so HD Aquatics asked, let's see, I think it would be cool if you made a video about what aquarium hobbyists can do in the hobby when they get bored. I think I can make a video on that. And maybe I could do like a parody about that, actually. So my thought process behind that is, if you get bored with the tank, switch it up. Find a way to rotate those fish out and then do something that interests you. Maybe you tried aquascaping for a minute, didn't really like it. So now you're going to try doing a entirely hardscape, using only wood and rock, no plants. Maybe you were doing rainbow fish for a while. Now you're ready to try live bears. So I think it's rotating through. Now, if you have a significant other, that may make them a little angry for a minute, because you are going to be rotating some fish through quite frequently. But you just got to find, if you're bored, you got to find go back to and remember, like, what made you excited the first time you kept aquariums. For me right now, breeding fish and then connecting with other hobbyists to offer their fish are the two things that really get me going right now. And when I walked down and found that ball of fry out of those calico convicts, I was so excited to see that. And to be honest, that ball of fry was bigger than I ever thought it would be. They now have officially, they're roaming the tank with them, and watching the parents is super cool. To watch them work with their fry and different things. But then now that they're out of the cave full time, there's over 100 fry. I guarantee there's over 100 fry. So I think a lot of it too is just go back to why did you start keeping aquariums, and then try and get back to that. Maybe you have 100 tanks. You need to break it down to 20 tanks. That was one thing with Mountaintop Puffer Keeper, was he could deep dive into each tank, and I saw some of the most amazing fish while I was out there. I'm not gonna spoil everything. Hopefully, I'll have it edited, put together for Friday's video, because it was so cool. The drive out there was a little rough. We'll get into that in the video. But then when I unfortunately did not have as much time there as I wanted to. But the time I got to spend with him in his fish room and see his fish, just the passion that this guy had. And he lit up every time he talked about these fish and that fish. And a great example, HD, is this is why he sent out the rainbow cichlids. He bought them because he wanted a new type of cichlid to work with, thought they were interesting. Then he got them, worked with them for a little bit. And then he found himself just not paying attention as much to that tank. And he wanted to try something else. So he moved them out. And I was fortunate enough to, he accepted my offer to move some new fish in. Very excited he accepted that. We took over some Limia perugiae to him, which my colony is getting bigger, where I'm hopefully going to start offering those up for sale soon. And he also accepted some Egyptian mouth brooder multicolor. And then I surprised him with an unexpected treat. I hope that maybe one day we'll spill the beans on what I took over there to him, because it was he's on how many people I trust to accept those fish. He accepted them, so we're not keeping all the eggs in one basket, if I have you. But yeah, it was, man, that place was so cool to go to, and like literally on top of a mountain. I'm gonna give away all the details. So let me keep cruising through chat here. We'll kind of catch us on things, and I do want to go to breeding fish. That's definitely something I learned from Mountaintop Puffer Keeper while I was out there, and then we'll kind of answer whatever questions come through. But let me catch up on chat here really quick here, because Biscotti Nanya coming in. Thank you so much. Keep up the good work. Quick question. Any tips on getting wild ottos to eat? Also, any tips on breeding ottos? So wild ottos to eat. Okay, so I'm going to go the first question and then the second question, because so on getting wild ottos to eat. So my understanding with the ottocinkless catfish is they are a grazing type catfish. That's why you're going to see them like stuck to the glass, munching on things. If I were to bring in a big group of ottocinkless, I would honestly buy a ton of catappa leaves, the Indian almond leaves, which I sell on the website, by the way. Shameless plug there. I would buy a bunch of those, drop them into the aquarium. I would put in some driftwood if I already didn't have that in the aquarium. I would get a bunch of Rapashi, probably like the super green, or is it the Soylent green, whatever one they call there. The one that has the most algae-based process I can find. Then probably like 2 weeks before I got them, I would blast my light into that tank and just leave it on. Just leave it on and grow as much algae as I possibly could, in hopes when I add these fish into the tank, they're now going to have ample food source. They're going to have the algae. They're going to have the catappa leaves. They're going to have the Rapashi, things that they like to graze on because they're a grazing type fish. And then in hopes, as they settle into the tank, get used to the environment, being there, they can then feel comfortable to start eating. Because that was my biggest. I have not fed my Fahaka puffer yet, like shrimp. I've noticed he's been munching on the snails in the tank, so it's a positive sign. But I'm curious to see if I can get him to eat something that I offer. But the last few days since I've had him, I kept all the lights off in the room. This is the first day, actually, this tank light's been on. I was just trying to let the fish settle in as best as I could. So that's my tips on getting them to eat, is you need to offer them things that they actually want to eat, want to graze on. And then on them getting to breed. So I've actually never successfully, I haven't really even attempted to breed those. They're on my list, because I know Dean's bred like the giant ottos, the black ottos, I think he calls them. So I mean, and maybe my tip is, well, kind of the general discussion I wanted to have from this, because this is a new kind of ideology that talking with Mountaintop Puffer Keeper has really brought my focus around to how we breed fish and the effort we put into breeding fish, instead of just putting in the effort to make sure your fish are happy, kind of a thing. But so I think if you focus on giving them the ample food they need, then you'll see the breeding come after that. Skip coming in the house. And Jen, thank you so much. $5 for an extra tank fund. That's probably my extra tank right there. That's the one that doesn't have water in it yet. It did at one point. Now I just don't know what I'm doing with that there. Waiting on I want to find the right fish for that tank. I really do want to find the right fish for that tank. Because it's hard too. Like, we've seen a few flower horns come up locally, but after having Boba Fett, which was a high quality flower horn, it's hard. It's like, I really want to get another decent quality flower horn. I don't know. Maybe I need to go through Aquabid and just import one. But Genu, thank you so much for that. I really do appreciate that. Texas Fisherman hanging out with us. Good to see you. Do linear air piston pumps run hot, or is that a sign I have too much back pressure? I would say my pump runs warm, but if it's actively, let's say my phone was my linear piston pump and you touch it, if it's actually like hot, that could be a problem. I do know, now it depends on the style. If you look into one like the Medevac ones that like a Gemco pump, the one that Aquaria Co-op is selling. They're all the same innards of the pump, maybe just rebranded. Mine runs relatively cool. Like it's warm because it's running 24/7, but it's not hot. Now there's the cheaper ones on Amazon. I forget what they're branded under. I've shown a few of them on my channel because I've used them before. It was more like a metal housing around it. Those ones did run hot, like to the point where I touched my hand on it, and it would, if I grabbed it and just left it there, it would burn my hand. Like probably not blister my hand, but it was hot, like uncomfortable to hold hot. Now it depends on what type you have. I say if you're running one that's like a Gemco style pump and it's running hot, and you already have all your tanks filled in with sponge filters, consider doing one more tap at a valve, then run like a 6-foot length piece of airline off of it and just open that up just to bleed off excess air that's built up in the system. And if you run a long air hose on it, it will also stop the noise that, it'll negate that because it has to go through the 6 feet of line on that one. So I would look into that one. And then also, if it is more of the metal style housing you have, I would expect it to run hot, no matter how many air bleed offs you have on that one. So hopefully that helps you answer that one there. Let's see. If you lose interest in one part of the hobby and some things you can try to do to spice up your hobby. Okay, I see where you're going, HD, with that. Maybe that's something we could save for our live stream together. I don't know. We'll see what we got there, because I know I also really wanted to just talk your hobby and what you got going on. Maybe we can work out there's something there too with that one there. All right, where'd I go here? My chat just jumped on me. Texas Fisherman, we're just glad to have you here. Even that means you're hanging out listening. I really do appreciate this. I appreciate you having it on in the background with us. I definitely do there. 28 people watching. Are we down to 8? That was cool to have 28 people watching. And I think we're down to like 18 right now, but that's all right. We'll take it. Yeah, JP, Justin just definitely seen we have JP's Fish and we have JP's Fish Room. JP's Fish, he's Justin's local to me, good friend of mine. We just he's got a big old project he's starting out there. And we've talked about a few. I've asked him if I can film a few things that he's got some ideas that he's implemented and talked about. And I've asked him, like, man, can I make a video about that? I think what you're doing will be awesome there. Giant Daniels responding. That's super cool, man. Giant Daniels are actually really pretty fish, very underrated. He's very pretty there. Yep, I'm happy to say, yeah. So Trevor's brother-in-law was able to purchase some CPDs that were bred by Justin from the website. We still do have a couple of those available too on the website. So that's something else. I forgot to mention those. We got his peppercorns. We also do have his Celestial Pearl Danios. And man, I'm getting the internet. I gotta do something on my internet. I'm getting a little sign again. I think I got an idea. Okay. After the stream, I'm gonna work on that. I think I have an idea to maybe help it out there though. But hopefully we don't break out too much here. Carrie, thank you so much, my friend. You do so much for me, but you did not need to do that. But I am so thankful for that. And that will definitely go to the $25 of this is for an Archie lookalike fund. Carrie, we love you and your family too. And I would like to talk to you more about coming out to see you and your husband again. Jordan likes the idea, but we definitely do appreciate it though. Thank you so much, Ron. Thank you so much for that. You guys are so generous to me, and I hope you take. I want to be generous back. I want to make sure the live streams, the videos, that there's always something in it for you guys as well. And I think that's why we started everything Well-Don. That's why we wanted to create that website, to be that entity you're looking for there. But Carrie, I appreciate you being here to moderate tonight. Thank you so much for the super chat. It's very, very generous of you. It's very generous of you. Thank you so much for that. Let's see here. Yep, tons of biofilm. That's another good tip there for doing some auto sinklets there. So the hard part of the autos is I think they ship in already, like, because they fast fish before they ship. And at that point, like, you got to have fat autos. Like, autos are constantly eating, absolutely constantly eating there. Big J's Fish Keeper. Who's Duncan? Hello. Thank you so much for joining the stream. I don't know if I've seen you guys before. Big J's, I recognize you. Appreciate you being here. But who's Duncan? It's good to see you. I think it's your first time here. Appreciate it. Okay. We catch Lav is here with us. Hello, Lav. So good to see you hanging out with us. I really do appreciate it there. Thank you so much. And Rachel's hanging out with us in the chat. Good to see you here. J Rock does stuff. Good to see you. Welcome. I appreciate you being here. But all right, where was I at here? So yeah, go buy all of our stuff off the website. It helps us do more amazing things. And honestly, if we can get to Texas, and I can do what I want to do, I think you'll see that website expand tenfold. But anyways, let's kind of go into Rachel. We are always looking at leads, actually. Jordan is actively right now, I think, applying for jobs for me. So we thought we had a good lead for a company. It turned out to be that they were advertising your pay as one thing. And then when we looked into it, they came back and it was meh, it didn't do much for us. So we're looking. But so yeah, so if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat here. And Carrie, thank you so much, Carrie. You guys are amazing as well for everything you do for us. We really appreciate that. We really do appreciate that. But yeah, if you got any questions, drop them in the chat. We'll get to them. But I want to talk about, I put up breeding fish general Q&A because honestly, after visiting Mountaintop Puffer Keeper, it was every time if you could go back and see every conversation I've had with people, like every time I've visited someone, I've seen their fish room and what they're doing. If I could, there's always those little tidbits of like, oh, I'm going to do that in my next fish room. Like, oh, I'm going to do that in my next fish room. Like, I'm going to do that in the next fish room, right? It's always J-Rock. I just saw your comment. I appreciate you coming back, man. I really do appreciate you coming back. Hopefully you find a place just to keep coming and hanging out, having good things here. Yeah. So once again, I walked out of Mountaintop Puffer Keepers area and I was like, man, like, I want to do that. I want to do that. I want to do that. Like, there's a certain puffer fish that I honestly looked up to price out and kind of made a mental note of, all right. And like in the next fish room, if we get what we want, Travis, ka-chow, welcome in, my friend. Good to see you here. If we get the area we want, like I have fish I want to continue breeding. Like I want to set up just like I'm going to call it a normal fish room, but would focus on, breeding and that and raising fish out. But then there's those few like tanks. I'm like, okay, like I'm going to at least need like 180, maybe a 125, maybe. Like we could probably pull that off in like a 120. Okay, that's good. I definitely want to get a Mabu puffer. Like I will have a Mabu puffer back in my time. I really want another Mabu puffer. And I was so looking forward to having a Mabu puffer and then the Fahaka puffer over in this tank. And then, the flower horn. But anyways, there's a reason Mountaintop Puffer Keeper, his name is Mountaintop Puffer Keeper. And he's if you've been here for a minute, he's talked about it. We've maybe heard me mention it. I said, you got to come back Friday to get all the details of what he's breeding up there. But it was, I honestly priced out some fish. I was like, man, like this would be so cool to try along with him. And I got to see some interaction with fish that I have never seen before. And that opened my eyes to so many things. So it was like one of the fish I really want to try and breed. And this will honestly be if the channel takes off, if the company takes off to the point that I can, and like, don't tell my wife because she's going to panic at the price tag. But if I could ever work with a group of the red cactus plecos, I would love to. Now, I know I could buy them small, grow them out. That's years. I've looked up through like Global Fish Co., the Global Fish Stock, I think it is now. I can get large, the red tail, like the red cactus pluggers. I can get large ones of those. And I have a few people that I've been making contacts with. I think I could even like slip in a name of like, hey, can you import these for me? Can I get big ones? But they're going to be like $1,000 a piece, maybe, just depending on how big they are. But then my brain went to, where am I going to find a cave that big? Because I've seen one video, and I wish I could find it again. One video where you watched a male cactus pleco. We're talking like a 14, 15-inch big old pleco pushing a female into a cave. And this cave was like the size, if you cut a basketball in half and put it in the tank, that's what it looked like. So then, yeah, I see Jordan's expression there. But then my mind started going to like, how cool would that be to get those big of plecos? Then I go to Pleco Ceramics, who is a sponsor of the channel, by the way. And if you use the code, I think it's code Wel-Don, you get 20% off your entire order from Pleco Ceramics. Good company, great company. I thought about like, then I could go to them. Then I could be like, all right, let's custom make pleco caves. Like, let's custom make this 2-foot pleco cave, that's 2 feet long, 18 inches wide, and like 12 inches tall. Like, what would that look like? So just gotta up all the credit cards. As I said, like, this is if this will happen if the God's bless of YouTube that this channel takes off and you buy everything out of my fish room. I mean, this is like a 10-year project, honestly, because it's a lot of money to invest in these fish. But just one, the content would be amazing, because can you imagine lifting up this 2-foot long, 18-inch wide, 12-inch tall cave? Like, it probably would have to be one. Or like, let's say they made it a whole thing. Can you imagine lifting that thing out of the water, like shaking out a pleco this big, like, just come on, get out of there. Like, that thing would like break the tank because it came flying out. But the one video I saw, they've also were able to then lift the cave up, and the bundle of eggs was insane. Like, you see High Pants District's eggs and like Wild Fish tanks. I love his quick little videos where he's dumping caves full of babies and he's getting 150 plus. But it's insane though, watching this like mass this big. So Mountaintop Puffer Keeper, he's not breeding those, but he's working on breeding a certain type of puffer fish. And I got to witness some of the coolest behavior I've ever seen with fish. And that's when it led into, as I started looking at his tanks, and what he uses for tanks, by the way, is freaking genius. Like, genius. This guy's sitting on some secrets, and we're going to expose him. But like, oh my gosh, this guy, his knowledge was incredible, but it's also because of the approach that he takes to fish keeping. Now, I all too often think we buy fish, okay, people are going to say, I want a breeding project. Cool. Like, what do you want to breed? Well, let's start with something easy. Okay. Live bears. Most people start there. I love live bears. I actually saw a new species of live bear I've never seen before, never even heard about in his fisherman's. Like, that's super cool. Like, I think I want to work with those eventually. But then he's moved into what interests him, like really what interests him. And he went after it. And he's patient enough to say, I understand this may take me a year or more to make this happen. But he's also got a certain fish that he's already bred that I know Justin has some of the fry from, that was a huge accomplishment for him. And then while I was there, he had a fish breed like the week before I got there. And it's honestly probably good. It's a fish I know majority of you have heard about, but I guarantee you none of you have actually thought about taking the time to breed. You always hear of the cousin of the fish, and and for good reason. But it was cool to watch the fry there and witness that, and his take on breeding fish. And I'm going to probably butcher it how he said it, but He showed me a new breeding project that he had that he did not tell me about until I got there. And my mind was just like, what? Like, you're working on that? Like, obviously they got to breed somewhere, but it was, and then the information that he told me about this fish, like I say, I don't want to give away all the details because I really want all of you to come back and watch the video Friday, and hopefully I do it justice. But it just, how did he say it? He said something effective like, well, I can tell you one thing. I'm either going to be successful at breeding them or I'm not going to be successful at breeding them. And that was his whole approach. So it's just, it's either going to happen or it's not. So then he went down the pathway of it. His mentality of this in breeding fish is, you don't just put fish in a tank. You got to make the fish happy. Now, how do we do that? How do we make fish happy? I run a lot of bare bottom tanks in my fish room, and I have fish breeding. Dean runs a lot of bare bottom fish tanks. He has a lot of fish breeding. It's Matt had plants and substrate and rocks and some water tang grown in balls of clumps that I've never even seen before. It's so cool. But it was, however you do it, his entire philosophy is fish will breed if they're happy. And that was awesome. That was so cool to hear that. And then, he even said, he's like, if they're happy in a bare bottom tank and they breed, like, they're happy in a bare bottom tank and that's where they bred. But he's like, but I noticed that this was working, so I tried this. I tried this. I tried that. And he wasn't afraid to try things. He wasn't just, his entire reaction to things was like, I want to say more, but I don't want to say too much because it's in the video. But it was on this one type of puffer he's working on breeding. Like, we were actively checking for eggs while I was there. Like, that's his level of success that he's having. And I think he's having that level of success because he's focusing on making the fish happy. Now, we may see things too of like, you'll hear people say, oh, I have a big cichlid tank, but they're not breeding for me. Like, okay, are they happy? Oh yeah, I put in pounds of food a day. Like, okay, but then you look in there and they're chasing each other. They're running around each other. Have you broken it down to, you have more females than males? Like, have you thought about that a male needs a female to be happy and that needs to take place? Like, have you looked at that aspect instead of trying to keep the rainbow of cichlids? See what I did there? Because I have rainbow cichlids. But instead of trying to keep one of every type, did you focus it down to, I have a group of 10 females and 3 males? Now we're talking breeding. If you've broken it down to, like, I see there's more I want to say, but I like, one of his fish he had success with was he ended up, he had some coconut huts in there, he had plants in there, fish paired off, fish laid eggs, and his entire approach was, he's like, the fish must have just been really happy in that tank. Sorry, the filter just made a weird noise. So it was. Can this video come out after the stream? If I did like a raw, unedited version of it, sure. I don't want to say maybe for the members, but it was just, I've never looked at it that way because I've even fallen into the thing of what's the best way to breed. I mean, a good example is crebensis, right? We can say, okay, what's the best way to breed crebensis? I had spawns that never came to actual fry until I tried a different method. And then the method that I used was you add more caves in, a little bigger tank. I turned the caves toward the corners, gave more options. But then I believe that they made the fish happy because then the female could actually guard against the male and make that work. I've looked at the Egyptian mouth brooders, and what's so interesting right now is I have a tank that's divided. I have my multicolor on one side and I have the yellow weed picker on the other side. Now, the multicolor I used to be able to pull a spawn of those every 10 days. I've pulled less spawns than when I put the divider in, and then the fish are healthy, But I've noticed, though, that they are not active in that side of the tank anymore. And I think it's because I took away their real estate. I took away the space that the males were chasing the females and things were happening. So we start these breeding projects and let's see the Snyder cut. maybe. We like you could go on my website right now and you could buy up the Swordtail Trio and what else is in there? Peppercorys, and you could probably go buy some. What would go with that? So Swordtail Trio, some Peppercorys, lemon blue eye plecos, and you can go buy up some Egyptian mouth breeder fry. Now that's a community tank, and that's a community tank that actually work, in my opinion. So now let's dissect each fish we just said on how they're going to breed in there. Live bears, that's easy, right? They're going to do their thing. But now do you have a space for those fry to go and hide? Do you have a space for those parents to feel happy? Okay, now let's break it down into the Peppercorys. They're going to be breeding on more of the bottom. They're going to hang out down there, but they're going to be laying their eggs maybe all over the glass, maybe all over the plants. Are they going to – now fish breed more often than we realize, but are they going to be happy to continue to do it if their eggs keep getting eaten, right? So they have Egyptian mouth breeds you got to worry about. They're probably going to come slurp up some eggs. The Corys may go slurp up their own eggs. The Plecos will probably go slurp up eggs. Plecos, give them a cave, put a bunch of food in there. Maybe you'll have some success at it, right? So it was just how his mind worked of watching the behavior of the fish was so cool to see, because I've had experiences where I've seen behavior of my fish change in positive ways, and I've seen this and that, but he was so in tune with each tank, each fish of what made them happy, like down to, I don't know if we actually got this on camera. We may not have, but in a certain breeding group he has, it came down to, he could tell me, he goes, that fish likes this color of food. That fish likes this color of food. Now they're in the same tank, but he knew which fish liked what food. And that was incredible. That just shows you the attention to detail he has with his tanks there. Fish behavior changes are pretty interesting to work off of. Yeah, but that's you, the mountaintop. You take notice to all that. It's really, really cool at what he was doing with his tanks for sure. And it was watching hit, like, just the level of excitement behind it and accepting that, like, say, this fish may take some time, but in his mind, he likes that challenge. I'd probably get angry or bored with some of those fish and move on to some other things. But every time I go places, it always sparks my interest of, that would really be interesting to try breeding. Like, what would it take to get that fish to breed right there, right? And so that's why I say, like, the red cactus pleco one day, that'd be so cool to try. That would be so cool to try. And then I really have to really started thinking about, like, maybe one day I'll try some puffers. Like, maybe one day. That would be freaking awesome. And that leads into Carrie's question. If someone could do a breeding project for you, so for me, what would it be? Well, if any of you want to drop the money on some red cactus plecos, I know a guy. I mean, just saying. So, I mean, if that's a project you want to take on, I'm sure we could work something out. It's like right now, breeding projects for me is like Daniel, for example. I sent him out a trio of the koi guppy. I wanted to give him an opportunity to work on a fish that I felt would sell decently well on the website. Wasn't overly difficult to breed, but could also then, in hopes, what it does is brings positivity to Daniel. What's the word I'm looking for? It brings the excitement to it. It brings the passion to it of, he has a fish that hopefully he's excited about. He's the reward of it. He's seeing the reward of it, of he's positively breeding this fish. Even though he did not purchase those fish from me, I have the agreement with him that I will buy the fry back. Now, what is that doing? Hopefully, now are we talking hundreds of dollars? No. But it gives him a little bit of entrepreneurial experience, a little bit of business experience, and a little bit of money to then hopefully continue to help him with his cause and his hopes and dreams in this fish keeping hobby. Carrie, we've talked about there's some OB cichlids that I bred, and the ones on the website are not ones I bred, but I have OBs that I have bred that have a really nice gene in them that I would like to get to somebody to continue to work on that. And then the goal is if I can, build a fish farm or build a big area, that I would want to take some back and continue to work on that, that gene line, that pool of fish. So breeding projects for me, if I'm honestly being serious right now, if anybody had super red plecos that were willing to work on those, that would be awesome. I know I've got 2 people I know of with access to lemon blue eyes now, which I'm still super jealous because I love me some lemon blue eyes. Some of the dwarf cichlids are really cool. Like I'm still bummed about those Salvini cichlids, but now super happy that I have the rainbow cichlids. Like that's super cool. And I didn't tell you too, is in that same tank, I was able to buy for $40. Like we're talking adult Australian rainbows. I bought a group of Australian rainbows. And they are big. It was a very good price on those guys. I should have 2 males, 3 females. So I'm not done with this tank by any means. I want to get a bunch of plants in here. And then I want to make some spawning mops, teach you guys how to do that again, and put some spawning mops in here for the rainbows. Hopefully we have some success with that. Like what other things would breeding projects for me? Okay, I got one. I do have one. I have Olimia perugiae. I have a guy that the top dorsal fin is jet black. Now, some of the males have those, but not all of them. Not like this guy. Like I tried to snag one for Mountaintop. I wanted to give him a good gene line. I would like to see if I can't get that top dorsal color into the female kind of a thing. So I think having somebody be like, okay, I'm dedicating 4 tanks to Limia perugiae that we have the parents. Parents drop fry get moved over here. We raise those guys out to where we can pull a female and a male, a pair, and the coloration we want can move them to the 3rd tank. Okay. Now they grow up, they drop fry. We move those fry to the 4th tank. Now we're going to pull from where we in the 2nd generation in to the coloration we want, move those back to the 1st tank, and you keep repeating that line over and over until where you're maybe 5, 6 generations in to get what you want. And if you haven't been watching the Goliad Farms reselect for breeding and listening to him talk about fixing the color in generations and everything, it's fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. So yeah, I think something like that would be really cool to see if somebody took on line breeding a fish for me. That would be pretty intense because that's something I want to do. Like that's kind of the next thing of what interests me in this hobby is taking something like that and then line breeding it to be what I want it to be. I wonder if making that happen kind of a thing, and that's going to require setting up something like a separate portion. Separate portion. Really keep track of those. Rika Stan's coming in. Good to see you, man. If you guys if you have not caught any of Rico Stan's interviews, you need to. You need to subscribe to his channel. He has done some great interviews. And then I was able to hang out in his Geek Out with Ed and Rico Stan. So Chattanooga Ed and him do a show, I think on every Monday, if I'm not mistaken. It's a fun stream. They were talking James Bond when I was able to get in there the last few minutes before I came live. You guys need to go check out his channel. Absolutely go check out his channel. But Carrie, hopefully that answers your question because it's things like a brick. If people had access to like fancy plecos and they were putting the effort into some fancy plecos, like that's something else too with my L199s is I just don't think they've bred for us, but they haven't bred again. So I'm like, what changed? Like, why aren't they happy? So I've been really looking into that to make maybe some changes there. And then Mountaintop, that's another thing too. He taught me, he's like, don't be afraid to change parameters on a fish, right? Like I keep my L199s like 85 degrees and it's consistent 85 degrees, right? But what I've never done kind of out of fear is what if I dropped that down to 80, right? Like let it drop to 80, like water changed it down to 80, let it came back up. Now, most people are going to say that's such a dramatic shock to your fish. Don't do that. Like that's going to harm your fish, because we get so concerned about a 5-degree difference of this and that. It's going to kill the fish. And maybe, but it's really interesting of maybe I should try that. So I did let the overall temperature of the fish room drop. I did let it go down about 8 degrees to see if that changes things in the fish room and how fish are reacting. So I'm now starting to try and play with, because if you think about it in the wild, there's seasonal changes. That's something I'm trying to start to play with a little bit, is maybe doing some seasonal changes kind of a thing. But it's been really, really interesting. And I do like Mountaintop. His statement here is, I'm partial to doing whatever breeding project you most enjoy keeping. That goes back to it is difficult for me to answer Carrie's question of like, what would I like if they could breed something for me, because I want to make sure that they're interested in those fish too. Like it does not make sense for me to send Carrie OB cichlids if she's not interested in OB cichlids. So fortunately, after she saw him, looked him up, she was very excited for him. So we're making that happen. But I know if somebody came to me and they're like, hey, breed this regular pair of convicts for me, I'd honestly be like, why? Like, I don't want to put the time, no effort, but I won't put the time into these things. But then when I got my calicos, oh yeah, I am so excited that we got a ball of fry to run around that tank right now. I'm so excited for those. That's something too. I want to get into like the pinks and stuff. So yeah, it sounds like in the next fish room, I've got to maybe set up some larger tanks, because I want to play with puffers more. I want to do the big red cactus, and I really want to do the parrotfish. Like that would be awesome to do there. Freaky Fish Lady, I just got a trio of koi guppies at my first fish swap. I'm so excited for it. Fish swaps are so much fun to go to. I'm happy that they're finally starting to open up more. Things are happening again. So, and the koi guppies are beautiful. Like you made a great purchase there. But I think I'm really happy for you too that you got an opportunity to go to a fish swap. Like that's what I'm more excited about for you is like, by all means, be excited for your fish. I love it when people tell me they're excited for the fish they got. But if it was your first fish swap, hopefully it was positive enough for you to want to go back. So I'm happy that mine are starting to open up again, because they're so much fun to go hang out at. They're really a lot of fun to go hang out at. Okay. Am I willing to talk about the true parrotfish? I don't know much about them, other than I really want to keep them. Let me see if I can pull up a picture here. So the true parrotfish is, so most people know the blood parrots. Let's pull up a picture of that first. Let's kind of go down the rabbit hole of what I know, and then we'll get into that here. So, okay. So let's pull up and start with the blood parrots. Now, this is predominantly what people are going to think about when they hear a parrotfish, because most of the time they're not even sold. People don't put in blood parrot; they put in just parrot, like the parrot cichlid, parrotfish. They're derpy. They're derpy as all get out. They can be really pretty. They do, like, if you can find one with a really nice red to it. I think they even have, what were they calling it? I think they even have one that looks like a king red blood parrot or something. This is actually kind of one of the genetic builders getting into like flower horns and stuff. And a lot of these are actually sterile. Like a lot of these fish are actually sterile. So we joke that like these flower horns, they're test tube fish, right? Because a lot of these are a man-made type of fish. Then you can get into things like, and I've seen these before. You get into a flower horn and parrot hybrid, and they're weird little fish. I've only seen them as juveniles. They're weird little fish, though. Like if you wanted a kind of a one off of a fish, this would be your fish to get. They're weird little fish. But then you can get into things like, what do they call them? The polar blue parrots, I think. I've seen these come up a few times up on Aquabit and stuff. You can get into the polar, which I think is a cross between a parrot and a convict. So you get some weird crosses there. But then if you strip all of these genetics away, and this is why I think now people call it the true parrotfish. Like you're moving into not just saying parrot cichlid or the blood parrot, like the true parrot cichlid, they call it. So right now, Aquatic Arts has some somebody's placed an order. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Rachel, you're the best. Hopefully I was allowed to say that. Hopefully I didn't give anything away. Getting myself in trouble. Anyway, so Aquatic Arts has some juveniles in stock right now. But these things can push 15, 16 inches. So these are a big fish. But then when you get them into adults, though, and now I guarantee you this particular picture is a little doctored up. It's not what I want. Let's go back to this. Okay. They get the prettiest blue colorations and these different things. Like that's probably a good picture of a parrotfish right there. Blue green down the body, but you can see in the face though where it kind of comes to that point where you can imagine there may be like a little bit of a beak right here. So this is the genetic building block for everything else that we've seen. And these are just not as common anymore. I'm actually really surprised that Aquatic Arts has some in stock. I'm curious to see if they're I'm curious to see if these are calling these tank bred or not. They are. So Aquatic Arts is really good too about purchasing, or at least telling you they're going to be tank bred. So theirs right now are tank bred, which is really interesting to me and fascinating because most parrotfish are actually wild caught. I found a few available on Aquabid. Say I found that big pair available on Aquabid, and God, this is like a dream fish of mine right now. Because I've had my Mabu puffer. I want another Mabu puffer. Like that's still a dream fish of mine. But having a big group or like a breeding group, even a pair, like a true pair of these true parrotfish, are just insane. The colors they show. So I know I want to say they're like they South American. Where do I think they're like South American true parrotfish from? So just out. They're more in. Okay, yeah, so Amazon River Basin, other South American waterways. So they're a South American cichlid, but it's for me. Here we go. What's Aqua Imports here? Like that's a good picture of a parrotfish right there. I love the size of them. I mean, and these fish are crazy too. They're in slower moving water. These fish can go hot, like high 80s hot. And I've heard in some research that like extremely low pH, like 5 pH. So I'm that's where I'm curious too of getting a group, and that's where I think I would like to start with juveniles. Like if what Aquatic Arts has in stock is true, and that's what's hard when you buy juveniles is are they what you're buying? But I having never seen them ever in person, I think it would be an awesome fish to get my hands on and an awesome fish to work with. And that kind of that niche of a larger fish to work with. I've always had the desire to breed a larger fish, like do a larger cichlid or something, working with that one there. But I've never seen them in person. I've never even seen them available for sale anywhere locally. So I think that's also kind of why it goes back to what I want to do there. I have blood parrots, 2 of them. They're my flower horn sidekicks. Yeah, they're kind of that fish I think can take a beating and kind of go back and play things. They're derpy. They're funny as hell. They can be really pretty, but they also it's the flower horn, blood parrots, true parrots. It's all kind of a combination to get what you want there. But that's awesome. You've been liking them too, though. Like true parrots are fun. They're so pretty, and I would love to get those. I would love to get my hands on there. HG Aquatic Singer, thank you for hanging out, man. I think we're gonna go for maybe like 10 more minutes. Maybe. Gotta put my kid to bed here eventually. When I learned about them and I saw them and saw what the colors were in that, beautiful. Like they're just gorgeous. Like that's a tank you can look over at, like, oh my gosh, like look at those things. Like look at those majestic fish just trolling the waters, and having these rainbow cichlids. Watching them interact in the tank is fascinating to me because they are utilizing the plecoceramics I put in the tank. But I've noticed too that they'll like hover at the bottom of the tank. They're beautiful, beautiful, beautiful fish. Beautiful fish. JP, thanks for hanging out with us, man. It's good to see you here. Really, I appreciate you coming in, Justin. Hopefully somebody buys your panda cories. The chocolate cichlid. I think I've seen those. Chocolate. Oh yeah, these are pretty too. I think they're also called the is it the emerald cichlid? I think they call them. Now, what I have noticed is that Aquatic Arts kind of has Aquatic Arts is kind of my go-to on buying fish that I don't have access to, honestly. Like Aquatic Arts usually has some pretty good stuff. Aquabid's also my go-to place, but I'm trying to start to make some connections with some people. Those are pretty fish. Those are definitely pretty. I'm trying to think because there was another fish I had from a hot minute. They get big. What were they? Panduro cichlids? And what are they? They got big. No, that's an epistogramma. It wasn't a pist. What were they? Oh, I can't remember. But they were. I bought them at my local auction a few years ago now. Few years. Wow, like 3 years ago now. A long time ago, actually. They were super cool. They were super cool. Pantano? I think they're Pantano. Let me check before I. Yeah, here we go. The Pantano cichlid. These guys were awesome. Their adult coloration. So there's some. I like the dwarf cichlids. Mountaintop had some beautiful cichlids going on. The rainbows, for example. Like I like the dwarf cichlid stuff, but I also like the big. I think the South American cichlids that just aren't your general like peacocks and haps and stuff. Or they call it, or the Piercei. Yeah, the Pantano cichlid or the Piercei, I think is part of the Latin name. But this is a true, it's been, doctored up a little bit and that kind of thing. But like that is the adult coloration on these things. And they are beautiful. They are definitely beautiful. Dovi is still something I want to play with one day. I will see about those again. They're cool, but like there's other things out there I would like to invest in. Got another Oscar. So you got 2 of them now, right? I'm curious what you named this one. We need to take donations for tanks. But yeah, there's a Mountaintop. I will say this. If you like him in chat, talking to him, you would love him in person. He was so much fun to talk with, very welcoming, and just so excited. I could tell you he was excited just to share his setup and things. And I always have to thank individuals. And I make the joke every time of, you met me on the internet, you allow me in your house. Like that just goes to I am so humbled that you all will welcome me into your homes and share that with me. And I've now met Trevor in person. We've met Carrie in person. We've done Mountaintop in person. Justin's local to me. Met him. I know Travis. I've met Travis in person. I've met Timbo in person. You know, I've met Because Your Fish. We did his tour. I've talked to a few people on live streams, and like Rico Stan had me on there. We've now done Science Gal Aquatics. But there's still that connection of in person of that. But it was you hear every time I film a fish room, I walk away just with this fear of I hope I do it justice, because you all put your time, your effort into making these is, pretty for you as you like them. And then you're allowing me to come in, film them, and share them with potentially the entire world. And it also is like in hopes of I want to do it justice, where somebody watches it and goes, that's really cool. Like, that's cool. So I feel like Mountaintop it's going to be so cool. I want this video to do so well. Justin's fishing tour did well. Unfortunately, a lot of people had a lot of negative things to say about my Tourette's. So I won't lie. I try to put an effort into not having that be as prevalent, because there was so much good information from Mountaintop Puffer Keeper that I want people to realize. And I think you guys are going to be blown away at what he is breeding right now. You're blown away at it. And I really do think that eventually, like soon, we're going to see some success come from him. And that's the thing too. I won't talk about it here. You have to go watch the video. It was his take on, how do I put this? Think of it like nature versus nurture kind of a thing. Really interesting insight onto where he lives actually helps him breed fish. I'll say that. It was amazing, absolutely amazing. So I hope all of you will go check it out Friday. All of you give him the love and support of that you need. It's gonna be so cool to see, and I am so excited for this video, and I'm so excited I gotta be there. So guys, I appreciate every single one of you for coming here. Thank you for your generosity tonight, hanging out with me. Hopefully this was an enjoyable stream for y'all. It was for me. So if you are looking to purchase some fish, check out everything Wel-Don. We use the code LIVE10 up until Sunday night, and you will get 10% off your entire order. That's just it's a thank you from me to all of you for your support. 2, it's I need to sell some fish, and I need to make some room in the fish room fast. It's getting it's getting pretty tight in there, but we're making it work. We're making it happen. And I know we have, check out Houston Manzanita, awesome company, really good guy. If you want your hardscape, code Wel-Don20 gets you 20% off your entire order. And then if you jump over to Pleco Ceramics and you jump into and you purchase some of their awesome caves and Pleco hides and all that. We did a full video on that. Use the code Wel-Don. That's 20% off your entire order, and they ship globally. How cool is that? So I want to thank you all for joining me tonight. Really do appreciate you. It's fun hanging out with you guys again. So we're going to end it here. No members live stream tonight. I got to get ready for work. I had a mishap there. Oops. Anyways, yes, if any of you reach out to us through the email, through Instagram, all that, I will answer you as best as I can. But everybody, have fun. I love you all. Do good things. Be good people. Keep your tanks. Have fun. Have fun again. Just enjoy your tanks, and I encourage you to just take the time to get to know your hobby. But I am so blessed that all of you support me in my endeavor. So hopefully soon we'll have a new hangout here. We do need some names for the where'd he go? Oh, he's cruising the tank again. He's over here. You see a little blurry blob? That shows me that this Fahaka is settling in. Here, let's do one last look at the Fahaka here. Look at him. Look at him. Cruising the tank. This makes me so happy to see that. He's over there like, feed me, fool, feed me. My last master fed me. All right, guys. So we need some name suggestions for that guy. Super, super cool. So happy to have this. I'm so happy to have this fish here. Oh, look at that puffer cruising around. That makes me happy. All right, everybody. You got some name suggestions? Leave them down in the comment section below. Love you all. Have a good night, and we will see you Friday with the next video.